Leo family, welcome to the channel. It's Romy here. Thank you so much if you're tuning in for the first time, and if you're returning, then welcome back. So this is your July 2020 tarot card reading. This is a general reading designed to give you intuitive insights into your own soul journey. You might also like to check out your rising and your moon signs. And if you're enjoying my work and it resonates, you can find the extended version of the reading over on my website, romywyser.com, and you can follow the link in the description box underneath the video. Okay, Leo, let's take a look, see how July is shaping up. Okay, lovely Leos, let's take a look and see what July is bringing up for you using a new deck, the Painted Tarot, today. Okay, we open up with the Wheel of Fortune. So this is set to be an incredibly spiritual month for you. I mean, for Leo rising particularly, this Cancer season is 12th house. It's all about that metaphysical, spiritual part of us. And I think that you're going to be deep in this kind of need for discovery, not only self-discovery, but also like looking for information, looking for signs, looking to understand, to educate, to inform yourself. And what we see is that the universe is kind of stepping in to really support that kind of a vibe. I feel like there's going to be some really beautiful synchronicities and doors opening for you as we move through this month. What I think is going to be really interesting is that you're going to have the opportunity perhaps to review areas of your life that have been neglected of late, and perhaps where you've had to make adjustments and adapt to different situations. I also think you're going to be coming to a point of conclusion about more permanent changes. So perhaps deciding some of the things that you have had to bring into your life or have had to change are now things that actually you feel like you want to make more of a part, an intrinsic aspect to what life is going to look like moving forward. You know, I feel like this is a month that you're getting to reimagine things, and with that you're being invited to think more boldly, more powerfully, but also from a more heart-led perspective. So the Wheel of Fortune bringing in the opportunity for some gifts, for some blessings for you. Of course, it can also bring in surprise events, and of course we're in that eclipse season right now. We have the third of this series happening on July 5th, which is the full moon in Capricorn and also lunar eclipse. Now, this full moon is trining with Uranus, so actually it's bringing in quite a nice positive change. And I think you're set to have some really interesting conversations that emerge as a result of the energy from that particular moon. Of course, Capricorn energy is that 6th house for you, so where you're making decisions to take better care of yourself, to look at the way that you want to be of service and how you want to show up. So here we have the card of the star linked into the sign of Aquarius, which is that polar opposite, that mirror image in terms of frequency for you, Leo. The star representing something where I feel, again, from a visionary, from a spiritual perspective, you're being very guided by the celestial. Beautiful signs showing up for you this month. So make sure that at the beginning of the month, you're really setting out what it is that you expect, what you want to see, how you want those signs to show up for you. The more kind of clear you are with your intention, the more the universe is going to be able to support you. What I think is that where we have some of these fated or very interesting events, connections and things that are going to start to surface for you, you need to also take a moment to appreciate that this is the beginning of a new cycle for you. So not everything is going to come in perhaps in its right order is what I want to say, okay? So you might be given a fragment or a piece of the picture that looks like the conclusion without being given the information to know how to begin, right? So with that, you're being invited to sort of have as much of an open mind as you possibly can about some of the ways in which things are going to be unfolding for you through this month, because I have a sense that for some of you, it's going to feel at times particularly confusing and just perhaps at odds to what your logical mind is telling you, or perhaps what other people are trying to portray or express to you in any form of communication, or something that feels on a more practical level. But, you know, from a higher self, from a spiritually guided standpoint, that's where I need you to kind of trust in what the energy is revealing to you and how the energy is speaking to you. That's what I think is going to give you much more of a confidence and a courage to know which direction to take. So on the 11th of this month in July, Chiron is also moving retrograde. So we have a whole host of planets doing this backspin, really inviting you to spend the time to understand how much growth has taken place over these last few weeks. Okay, I quite like the Queen of Coins coming in for you, because actually I think she's going to give you some sense of grounded earthly energy. Now, if this isn't you, Leo, you might be dealing with a Taurus, Virgo or Capricorn energy, but actually I want to take on her frequency for you just for a moment, because I think what she's going to deliver for you is a sense of understanding how to take advantage of the opportunities that are going to be presented to you. So perhaps you're going to find yourself in a unique position where you're gaining information or an insight, or you're slightly ahead of the curve on something, and then you're going to be able to act very quickly to implement something that's going to give you a big leap or a big jump forward. So particularly in those areas of career and work, I think that's going to be really advantageous, okay? Now, if you are dealing with an Aquarian, perhaps, or there might be an earth sign here, regardless, if you've got some kind of relationship situation going on, as I'm looking just at the dynamic going on here, I'm kind of seeing opposing views, right? I'm seeing two very different approaches, two very different languages, if you like, to a particular situation. In the first instance, it may feel like there isn't a clear conclusion that you can both come to, or, you know, a shared vision that makes sense, right? So again, this is why I kind of feel drawn back to say, you know, through the month of July, you're going to be getting fragments of, you know, the pieces of a puzzle. And to a certain extent, you're going to have to wait a little bit to see how you can make them fit, or how you can make them come together, you know? So if you are coming up against that particular situation, you know, either in your relationship and within a family, or, you know, something that's going on within a work environment, and you are finding this sort of opposing perspective. Remember, Aquarius always aligns us into what's going on with the polar opposite within your life, then just rest assured that there is a divine plan that's in play here. But what I think we can take from this Queen of Coins energy, and still, you know, even though she's bringing in this very earthly sort of practicality, I'm just being really drawn into this beautiful lavender. And it's linking me into this very spiritual feeling that I've got for you this month of July, and linking into your third eye, your crown chakra, and having to trust in things, even when you are not fully sure as to what the eventual outcome is going to be. So here we have the Three of Cups, and there is a moment of celebration to be enjoyed through this month. And I want to tell you where I want to take this for you, Leo, is that I think you have to celebrate something in yourself. I think there is an accomplishment, or there is some kind of achievement that you've made, and, you know, perhaps you're in a mindset that's very disregarding of what you've had to endure in the way that you've actually been able to approach it. You know, we still have some of these planets working through Capricorn in that 6th house, but the full moon in Capricorn is illuminating. And remember, eclipses bring everything to the surface. So for me, there's something in that says, I need to take some time to just stop and realize and appreciate how I've been able to allow myself to navigate through this absolute whirlwind of a year so far, and cope with the changes, and have to at times completely let go of what my expectations were about where I would be at this point in time. But rest assured that, you know, regardless of how far away you think you are from where you were supposed to be, what you should start to see emerging through this month of July, and more fully as we progress into the latter part of this year, is a new path that's forming, that's showing you not only fragments of what you wanted from the past, but also bringing in, like a magnet, lots more opportunities and energies that are going to start to make sense in a way that says, okay, this is where I feel at home, these are the people that really resonate with me. These are the friendships, these are the connections that matter most. So I see you prioritizing through this month, reconnecting with family, reconnecting with friends. And actually, as Venus is also now moved direct as of the 25th of June. Now, I know some of you might be watching this just before the 25th, but, you know, as we move through July, that's also going to ease up in terms of those personal romantic relationships, the energies that you might have been experiencing. So beautiful card with the Three of Cups coming in, and it just has that very emotional, kind of gentle, tactile feel to it, I feel, this month. So you do have some very flowing energies that I think even where you want to kind of stop and ponder for too long, they're going to keep you moving. You know, that wheel is going to keep everything turning. And, you know, we've just had that powerful solar eclipse, the Ring of Fire, which I think is very represented in this particular depiction of the card. And for some of you, that will have given you the opportunity to think about some of the new intentions that you want to put forth. And remember, we've got 2 new moons in Cancer this season. The second one is coming in on the 20th. So here we have the card of the Three of Swords. I really like the artist's depiction here. It's just almost like this X-ray vision where we get to see right into the heart of something. And that's the particular message I want to give you for this month with this particular energy, Leo, because you are getting to the heart of something. You are discovering something. And it's going to be so important. Now, if you have had a situation where perhaps some friendships or part of your social circle, you have feel let down, you have feel isolated, or there's something in and around that dynamic that you're really struggling with some wound energy, or you're dealing with a little bit of an upset around, there is some beautiful healing that's set to come in for you, okay? So I do think there's going to be the opportunity to have some more meaningful discussions. But remember what I said about some opposing views and some differing understandings about a particular scenario. I feel like there's more for you to learn from within yourself before you're going to be able to see how that's going to play out, okay? Of course, this is a season of sort of purging and shedding, and eclipse energies can really bring so much to the surface. So Three of Swords also helps us with the healing. It's incredibly cathartic, and it's also incredibly clarifying. And actually, I really like to see this, because what we have is in a month that is going to be very spiritual and working through that 12th house, where at times the deeper subconscious part of ourselves is trying to make us comprehend not only what we've been doing and why we've been doing it, and also coming to the understanding of, you know, bumping up against those more, shadow aspects of ourselves where fear has really permeated into the way that we've been able to live our lives. But now it's also saying, now are what you're going to do about it? Like, how are you going to transform yourself? How are you going to change? And of course, this is a nod to the collective grief that is absolutely bubbling up to the surface at the moment in terms of some of the events that are taking place. So that wound energy coming up to the surface, so necessary. And that's how I want you to look at it. Like, you're being given the opportunity to get to the heart of something within you, within a situation with someone else, or, you know, understanding on the collective landscape, why this information, why this knowledge, why this wound is so important to be brought forth. So here we have the Alchemist, also known as the Magician card. And I love this burst of red energy, because I just feel it's bringing in the passion, and it's bringing in your understanding that actually now is a time that I need to start to really harness energies in a slightly different way moving forward. So this is a reminder that, you know, where you are seeking a potential outcome in your relationships, in the way that you are showing up within your life, the passions, the things that inspire you, that drive you, we need to work pre-pave the energy. We need to set the vision of it. We need to understand that, you know, it's important to take that time through meditation, through visualization, through journaling, through vision boarding, wherever you want, to actually set that energy in motion first before you're taking all of that physical action. But I think what you're getting this month, Leo, in July, that's going to serve you incredibly well is this beautiful synergy of both the practicality that's coming in, getting to the heart of the matter, so having the information, and then being deeply, deeply led by spirit with this kind of fated, here's where the doors are opening so that you're ready to take the opportunity. And I think that's quite a powerful mix of you know, dynamics that is going to enable many of you to make some significant progress in a particular area that, like I said, you may have feel has been somewhat neglected. Okay, so we have the Eight of Cups here, an emotional journey to take. And, you know, of course, this card depicts us perhaps letting go or moving away or walking away from something. I love the representation here. Again, we've got this beautiful full moon and the bird flying free in front of it. And she almost looked like she's dancing and kind of taking great joy in that journey as well. And so even though there might be some sadness, even though you might be letting go or calling time or moving away from someone or something, you're almost doing it with a deep understanding that it has to be this way. I have to allow myself to move on. I have to allow myself to grow. And, you know, whether that's coming in because it's a change of career or job, or, you know, you're moving away from a relationship or a particular friendship, I do think that you're doing it with so much wisdom and experience that's going to serve you incredibly well as you move forward. And actually what I think you're going to realize quite quickly once you've made that decision, and for some of you, even if that decision has been made for you, right? Because eclipses can sometimes bring in that change very unexpectedly. But I think you're going to quickly realize that the space that you're now able to create in your life as a result of that decision and that movement away from something is affording you like brand new possibilities to start to dedicate yourself and invest your time and your energy and your resources into something that is going to be much more fruitful for you and supportive of your own individual energies. Yeah, it's going to be much more about the value that you have. Now we have the Two of Swords coming through here. I think it's interesting because actually when I look at this, there's all this beautiful white space around the figure here who's ready to make a decision but still feeling a little bit doubtful or unsure. So I'm going to say to you that there is this invitation, I guess, in July to give yourself that white space, you know? And what does that look like? Is it just time in your diary? Is it time to be able to connect into your higher self? Is it time to be able to grieve, to process, or to attach into what the new vision looks like for you? A choice or a decision is coming, but I feel like the answer is only going to come from within. And I do see you standing quite strong and firm this month, Leo, and not kind of being overly influenced by others. And I think that's going to be important. You might have some very well-meaning energies around you, you know, well-meaning friends that are trying to tell you it's not the right thing to go back or to let go or to take that risk, you know. So I think people are going to be trying to look out for you, but you have to remember it's going to come from their projected place of insecurity or their own life experience, you know, and sometimes that can get a little bit conflicted, and so you really have to trust yourself is what I'm going to say. You really have to trust yourself. And, you know, as we look at this right next to the Eight of Cups, like I said, you might have some moments of doubt. You might kind of question, have I done the right thing? You know, did I make the right call there? I feel absolutely the answer to that is yes, because actually what we start to see is that once you come to a place of acceptance about that, okay, and actually just noticing how these swords are kind of in her hair here just means that the opportunity for some mental conflict in terms of your thought forms is probably going to be quite strong. And remember, particularly in that first half of the month with Mercury retrograde in Cancer, you know, it can bring up some very wounded feelings in terms of the way that we communicate with one another. And if that is in a differing or opposing perspective, it could be quite hard to sort of be able to process that. But what we see with this Knight of Cups coming in is then the opportunity for you to start to reimagine yourself in a completely different place, living a completely different way, and perhaps for some of you with completely different people that are around you. Now, if this is somebody who's in your life, or about to come into your life, of course, Knight of Cups can bring in that impending kind of sense of new romantic connections, new proposals, new offers, perhaps a water sign, Scorpio, Pisces, or a Cancerian. But what I do feel is that there is this beautiful picture that's being painted for you in July, and I want you to attach to that vision where it feels good. So whether this is because somebody is showing you what might be possible, but more importantly, I think it's really about, like I said, the discovery of you realizing that there is more out there for you, okay? So even if you have experienced some real challenge and some difficult situations, there is limitless possibility that hasn't even begun to be fully realized for you. And just again, back to what I said at the start with this idea of like you receiving kind of fragments of information, pieces of the puzzle that are not in chronological order. So it's almost like in this month of July, we have to kind of release the idea of timing being linear, and we just have to try to lock ourselves into as much as we can, being centered and grounded and returning back to our own energy, trusting in what our higher self is giving to us, and knowing that that bigger blueprint of our soul journey is absolutely being taken care of, and that wherever we find ourselves is going to be in the right place. You know, that alchemist energy, that magician energy for you is incredibly fortuitous in terms of bringing new opportunities in. Wheel of Fortune here as well. So you are going to be blessed with some exciting deliverance, I feel, of things that could give you a way out. And so I also don't want you to get too locked into any restrictive kind of mindset that says, oh, well, I'm stuck here now, you know, or perhaps if there's been a loss or something you've had to let go of, you either find yourself single again, or perhaps financially speaking, not, you know, in a place that is as secure as you once were, or perhaps going back into a job you don't want, or, you know, whatever the dynamic is that's playing out for you that's perhaps bringing up some slightly restrictive energies. You're going to absolutely witness through this month of July, Leo, how you're going to be able to see that things are not so locked down as you thought they were, okay? So be prepared for that. And like I said, as much as you can, if you can have an open mind and an open heart, and be spiritually guided, then I think you're set to see some really beautiful events. Okay, so the Oracle card that's coming in is Cheer Up, Live in the Moment. Of course, being able to find that sense of presence is important. Sometimes it's not so easy to cheer up, you know, when we're dealing with incredibly challenging situations. And, you know, with the Three of Swords right at the center of the reading, I appreciate that for many of you, your experience might not be affording you the opportunity to smile as much as you would like to right now. But what I love with all of the blues that are coming through with this is that, you know, there's an incredibly healing energy, a very divine, soothing, kind of almost angelic presence that's revealing itself. We've got the beautiful rays of light coming in to permeate, you know, the cracks that have perhaps formed as a result of this eclipse season in one area of your life or another. And remember, like we said, that Three of Swords is so clarifying. It's bringing the pain up to the surface to be healed. And so it's a process, you know. We don't have to cheer up instantly overnight, but what we can do is seek the next best feeling emotion that we can in that moment, you know. So wherever you find yourself on the emotional scale, I think it's like the Abraham Hicks emotional scale is what I'm sort of being drawn to. Wonderful resource to look up, and just move yourself up that organically. Find the next step. That said, I think there are going to be some really beautiful moments that are going to help support you to be able to find reasons to smile, to find reasons to celebrate. But again, the more present that you can be within the energy, and almost just like releasing the expectation as much as possible towards any particular person or any particular situation having to deliver in a specific way, because I don't really see that it's necessarily, like I said, going to be like an ABC. Okay, so your astrological card is Black Moon Lilith and Mystery. Again, 12th house, linking in very much to this, esoteric kind of vibe that we've got in that first part of July for you. Understand that some of the work that you're doing on this deeper subconscious level is so important in terms of the way that you are changing and evolving, Leo. And I think that this is incredibly poignant in terms of you understanding the way that your language, the way that you express yourself, the way that you communicate, and how you're recognizing the differences with the people around you and what that means and how you can make sense of it. And that's going to really help support you in the relationships moving forward, but also to empower you. So it's kind of like this understanding of, where you have been perhaps holding yourself back, where you've not spoken out, where you've tried to fit into situations that just weren't really giving you what you needed. There was no healthy energetic exchange there. But also where you've got like untapped potential, untapped ambition. Black Moon Lilith is a beautiful goddess energy that just wants you to own. She wants you to own it. Own it all. Don't be afraid to stand up and speak of your greatness. Don't be afraid to stand up in the relationship and say, this is what I need. This is what I deserve. Don't be afraid to communicate that to the people in your life and show them, this is what I'm looking for in terms of, the healthy boundaries, but also for me to be able to step into my potential and my best self. So, I see you perhaps needing to disappoint other people because you're having to selfishly orientate yourself to what am I being given and where am I being guided. So here we have the card of longing for home, homesick for the stars. Okay, maybe some of you are feeling just incredibly out of place in this new world at the moment. Maybe you are looking around you and just thinking, I really can't cope with the enormity of grief that's coming to the surface, or with the anger and the volatility. Maybe my life has been unearthed or turned upside down, or there's just this powerful spiritual energy that's now being activated and awakened and going to a whole new level that's just like feeling like this golden thread that's pulling you forward. And so there may well feel like there's this real deep yearning, craving for something, and you might not be able to make full sense of it. I think as we move out of this month and into August and into your solar returns, Leo, that'll start to feel a little bit more understanding for you. Like, I just think you'll get a better perspective on it. But right now, I think it's all about allowing yourself to step into the void, almost to just be in that space. Remember, we talked about the white space here with the Two of Swords. So there's something really important. So we've got a lot of like moon energy, a lot of that celestial star energy coming in, and then this beautiful kind of vortice that's just circulating here. It feels quite nebulous. It feels quite limitless, infinite. And it's not always easy to remain practical and earthly in that, which is why I think your queen's going to be so important. But you might well find that some of your friends are kind of looking at you this month and just going like, what is going on with you? You're just like acting like you're on another planet, or your head's in the stars. Well, that's absolutely fine. That's exactly where you need to be, because believe me, the downloads that you're going to receive, or the intuitive nudges to be able to then exploit the opportunities that are coming, are going to be divine. And I think for some of you, you're also going to get some really beautiful blue sky thinking coming in. So I see real innovation happening as well. I just see that there's the opportunity for you to completely like reimagine your own plan, your own strategy. And, maybe in a workplace, this is going to be important because you're now forced to be able to do that, right? From a relationship perspective, there is movement forward, but there's something to deal with. There's something to have to move past or move beyond before you're able to reach that point. So Leo, I hope this has given you a little bit of insight for this month of July. If you haven't subscribed and you've enjoyed the reading, please make sure you do. Drop me a like and a comment. What I'm going to do now is go ahead and pull us some clarifying cards for the extended reading. with that, we will speak for another 20 minutes or so, and it will give us a little bit more depth into this reading, and we can go into more detail. So what I'd like you to do, remembering that this is a general reading, if there is a specific question that we haven't answered for you, please think about that now. I'm going to pull a couple of cards and we will cover that in the extended reading, okay? Perfect. And so I'm just going to clarify this main spread now for us. So let's just begin with the Wheel of Fortune, bringing in the moon energy. So something unseen, so it's not yet, not yet time to reveal, but could also be a Piscean energy that you're dealing with. Card of Death, Scorpio energy here. Profound change and transformation coming in this month, and I think you will feel that deep in your bones. Nine of Swords. Some fears coming up around this though. I understand that, to be honest. Okay, Star bringing in the Emperor. I think there is a little challenge this month, in just the people around you. Okay, another Three of Swords here. And these just very different outlooks, very opposing, polarizing views, and how you make sense of that and what it means to you, yeah? Ten of Wands. Are you too busy saying yes right now to everyone and everything? Okay, King of Swords, Hierophant with the Three of Cups. Interesting. Okay, Three of Swords, Six of Cups. So having to go back before you are able to move forward. Yeah, okay, exactly. Six of Cups, Three of Wands. King of Pentacles, perhaps an earth sign. Knight of Wands, nice. Could be another fire sign or representative of you. We'll go into that in a bit more detail. So the Fool coming in with that Eight of Cups. I think they both have similar body language in these cards, which is just this almost sense of liberation about releasing yourself from something to begin a new path. Yeah, it's going to be good for you. The change is going to be really good for you, Leo. Okay, Judgment, yeah, rebirth. Oh, another wheel, nice. I think some of you might well find like a really interesting contact that comes up, perhaps from a work perspective, that's very advantageous to you this month, Leo. So look out for that. Hermit and the Four of Wands. Okay, let's just finally clarify these oracle cards. Justice, just regaining that sense of balance and perspective. Black Moon Lilith with the High Priestess, beautiful, and the Star. Wow, you are so divinely led this month, Leo. Six of Pentacles. Okay, perfect. If you'd like to join me for the extended, the link for that is in the description box underneath this video. You can also find the link over on my website, romywyser.com. I really appreciate you tuning in. Happy birthday to the Leos in July, and I look forward to coming back to you with your next birthday reading. So, infinite blessings, lots of love. Bye for now.